Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Punching Back with George Papadopoulos, Casual Fridays. And I have an incredible guest. And not only is he a guest, he's a personal friend of mine. Most of you, if not all of you, know who he is, the great Fleccas. Fleccas, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, George. Casual Friday. I feel great. I feel right right at home here.
You do. We have producer Max also. He's probably going to be chiming in. He's been making this thing grow, and he's a great friend also. So this is family. I consider you family. I've known you for a while. I've had some interesting interviews with you too, so it's always great to bring you on my podcast. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I do want to thank you because you gave me a look at the story the story that was behind the book, and you gave me an interview early on, almost like a year ago.
Yeah.
And now people are always hitting me up and saying, "Oh, dude, that Papadopoulos interview, everything's coming true." Like I keep rewatching it, and then I relook at the news with a different perspective, and that was awesome. We completely laid it all out over an hour, so I appreciate that time back in the day.
And I get messages to this day that I learned about you through Fleccas.
Hell yeah.
Like they just all the time. And it really goes to show you how important it is today to have alternative forms of media. You can go on TV, whether you're on CNN, Fox, BBC, ABC, whatever, you're going to get 4 minutes at tops. If you're lucky, once a week, if you're lucky. Okay. How can you possibly convey a message or build a brand of what you're trying to present to the public with the TV? You can't. Having a platform like yours, a podcast, is the only way you can really do it. It gives us the time. It's more intimate, and it allows us to really ask unfiltered questions if we want, because this is our show. So I really, I know a lot of people know you, but I really want you to tell the people watching this, like, how did a Wall Street guy, an ex-Wall Street guy from New York like you, end up in LA in this madness over here doing what you're doing? Because I think that's like a really unconventional path that people might not even know that's how you started. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had a very strict, structured upbringing. I have an Italian mom. So I was always, having to be the best in school, best at football, whatever. And she kind of put me on a track to play college football. We realized that all the boys in the family, there's 3 of us, we're all kind of gigantic. So all right, you guys can play like football, play inside line and blah, blah, blah. So we all end up going to decent schools. And after college, I went to Citigroup in New York to work on Wall Street for a couple of years. I did an analyst program there, sales and trading. And
Did you like that?
It was, if I had to pick a career that wasn't this, it is kind of competitive and fun. I do think the banking industry, though, is just continuing to shrink. And like being at a big bank like Citi, 10 years from now, I probably wouldn't be there anymore. They'd probably chop my head off one day. But I did that for 2 years. I did sales and trading. I sold mortgages, sold equities. It was pretty cool. I was like always like the fun guy on the desk. So like, for example, we had to take the Series 7. And like to pass the Series 7, you have to get a 72%, 180 out of 250. And they're like, oh, anything over 180 is a waste of time. So like, what'd you get? A 90? Oh, you wasted, 18 points 18 points of extra studying. I got a 72 on the dot. Oh. 180 out of 250. And I told them, they're like, oh my God, if we had failed, we would have fired you. So I became like an instant legend in Wall Street. I was like the young analyst. Everyone wanted to go out for drinks with me, the guy who got the perfect score on the Series 7. So it was fun and cool. I wasn't that good at bond math. I messed up bond math. I messed up a few trades a bunch of times and got my chair kicked. But it was cool. It was nice, but it just wasn't like creative. And I felt like I was just building like a global bank. And I was just like, I can't be a cog in the machine. If I get fired, they'll replace me with literally anybody. So I told them in my promotion meeting, I was actually going to give them my 2 weeks notice and move to LA to be a comedian. And they started laughing at me. And I was like, all right, cool. I got some jokes then. I could get a room to laugh. And I was like, no, seriously, I am. And they were like, all right, well, expect no bonus just because you're voluntarily quitting. And everyone else, the only other person who's voluntarily quitting is going to Harvard Business School. And you're going to LA to do who knows what. So I was like, okay. I wrote a really nice letter to the people at the bank on my last day. And they ended up giving me the bonus I would have gotten if I stayed as like almost like a gift. So I went to LA with some money. I spent it on Uber SUVs and Postmates. It was a fun 6 months. And then I was starting to get involved in the entertainment industry. I was trying to be a PA. I was trying to be a writing assistant. I was writing all these scripts. No one would listen to me. No one would read my stuff. I cashed in every connection I had. And then one person told me, he's like, hey, if you want an agent or a manager, go build an audience, go have a product that works. And then once we see you're able to influence, then come back to us. And I was like, okay. So my first video idea was like doing these man in the street videos. I did it like a comic convention. It was pretty
Mhm.
funny. And then Trump happened. 2016 had just happened. He got elected, and I covered the protests at LAX airport, the Muslim ban. And the first video, like I used to release videos on YouTube, and I would tell my mom, like, hey, can you watch on your phone, your iPad, dad's computer, like your cell phone, dad's cell phone, just to get the views. I want like extra like 20 views for the house. And then
Yeah.
this first video I released from the Trump protests, it got like 150,000 views in 24 hours. And my YouTube was just like roaring. And at that time, I was like, oh my gosh, this is nuts. And I kind of realized that the right was completely underserved when it comes to content. Netflix, Hulu, all the movies, everything's geared to the left and to China.
Now, what did you think back then about, okay, because we know that Trump's redefining what it even means to be right in 2020. But back then, what were the people thinking in terms of him as because we can't forget Trump comes from Hollywood, basically. I mean, not Hollywood, but he's in entertainment. He was an entertainer. He
Mhm.
was a business guy. He was in New York. He mingled with all the Hollywood elite throughout his entire life. But then he runs for president. And what were people thinking, like in LA, about him at that time before he was president? Do you have any insights into that?
Yeah.
Because I'm very curious about that too.
People thought that he was unqualified. That was their big thing. Hillary, oh, she's got her years in there. She knows what she's doing. Woman president, like, let's just do that to keep things as they were. Obama continued. That's kind of what they thought. Like, things
Yeah.
as they were, or the wrecking ball who doesn't know anything, who they think is kind of crass. And that was it. That was all the knowledge they had of him. And that was kind of before they really got him with like the racist stuff and all that, because he was used to do the shows. He did Colbert, and Colbert
Mhm.
was nice to him. And no one was ever like, oh, I heard you hate, brown people or Mexican people or whatever. It was just a normal interview. So the script really did get switched, and it quickly like fed into the apolitical people, which is kind of like what all my content is geared towards. It's not necessarily trying to make the far left go right. It's trying to make the people watching take like a couple small stances that they won't realize will push them more further to the right than they realize. So at the time, I was just kind of like, yeah, like I'll just make these videos. This is kind of funny. This is cool. And all my friends are like, dude, you're never gonna work again. No one's gonna hire you. Like, you like Trump? I was like, dude, no one hires me anyway. So I went to the next video, I recorded one of my favorite videos ever, and I have like a spoon microphone.
What's up with the spoon? Tell me about it. You brought
So
a spoon here. Do we have the spoon with us?
it's somewhere. It might be in the back room. But yeah, I used the spoon.
What's up with the spoon?
So I had to pick something to hold the microphone when I first got into the game. And I was like, I'll just use this. I'll wrap it up, whatever, just so I could hold it. And I picked spoon because my mom's Italian. I used to get threatened with the spoon. She makes me say threatened because when I say hit, she thinks that I'm like telling people she hit me with
I
the
used to get the
spoon.
house slippers, so it's either the spoon
Yeah.
or the house slippers.
Exactly. And that was like, that made for a structured upbringing. You don't see us out in the streets with different color hair, holding signs that don't make sense up, It must have done something. So I did that as like a kind of an homage, I guess. But I picked spoon because it makes me look like kind of stupid. I'm like a fat guy with a beard and a weird outfit with a spoon. They don't think I'm Fox News. I'm not in a suit. So they kind of open up to me, and I give them really positive feedback with my body language and the nodding. So they kind of just like open up and like let me have it, let me hear it. And the second video I made, I was so happy with it. We got the craziest footage, and I forgot to turn the mic on.
No. What was
So,
that footage?
I saw a man who was a clown with clown tattoos. He's a real clown, permanently a clown. He was like, yeah, there's a lot of clowns here. These people don't know what they're talking about. So like a clown called the protesters like embarrassing. It was so funny. I got a guy smoking weed at the protest. It was pretty good. A bunch of good clips. Trump's racist. What'd he say? Oh, I don't really know anything offhand. And it was early on too, before they were on to all the people interviewing. Now they kind of know maybe we're up to something. It gets a little harder to get the craziness. So I learned a lesson there. I never, didn't turn the mic on again after that. And then basically I started releasing videos, and they just consistently would do really well. And I figured out the game a little bit, where I was making them so there's no curses. I censored all my curses, made sure no one said anything too crazy, nothing too crazy happened. And then that way the media companies who are looking for content like this were able to share them. So Daily Wire, InfoWars, The Blaze, Fox, everyone would share these videos. And I kind of grew my audience that way.
Because you think it's because you were able to like infiltrate these groups at, I don't know, somebody in a suit and tie, or, the way, let's say, whoever they look like can't get in and talk to young people? Do you think young people are just not comfortable with media today?
Well, in the beginning, I I was a little bit easier because I would be like, hey, like, why are we protesting? Like, what brings us here? Like, I'm on your side. What's going on? Just like explain it for everyone
That's
else who doesn't
cool.
get it. And they would really just open up. You know, Trump's Hitler. He's gonna put us in camps. The world's gonna blow up. Kim Jong Un's gonna kill us. I'd just be like, oh wow, it doesn't sound good.
But how the hell did he get that image in Hollywood after he was friends with all these people for years? I mean, what changed when he ran for president? I don't that's it's it's like me being friends with you or somebody, and then the moment I say I'm going to run for president, you turn your back on me and you start lying about me after we were friends all up until that moment. And that's just like a microcosm of what's happening to him. Why did that happen to him? That's something I still don't understand.
I
It's not like he was like some weirdo fringe guy
Yeah.
who was like an outsider. Like Mike Bloomberg's a complete freak in my like. You know, he completely freaks me out. He's creepy, and I'm just like uncomfortable watching him. You know, let alone meeting with that guy. But Trump was always like at fights. You know, he was with what's the guy's name? The promoter, Don King.
Don
He
King.
was with Don King, hanging out with Don King, you know, hanging out with XYZ celebrities. He had his own shows and everybody loved him.
Everyone loved him.
So what the hell changed? No one's ever answered that question for me. And I want to hear it from you, especially because you talk to the people directly where it matters, and that's Hollywood.
So I think on a high level, what happened was the media was like, sure, Hillary was going to win. So they're like, all right, we'll make him this monster. We'll paint him out to be this horrible guy, to be defeated by the first woman president. There's our narrative. And then it didn't happen. And now they're just like, all right, we got to double down. Now the monster's in charge and for clicks. And I also think, imagine the example you gave of me and you being friends. Imagine, and this is me saying this, not George. But imagine like at a very high level, like my boss or boss's boss is involved in these companies and these like elite cabal type of people where they're compromised in some way or doing some bad stuff. So then like when Trump comes in, they know he's the wrecking ball. They know he's the light in the darkness. And it's like they just use their tentacles everywhere
Deep
to
state.
kind of deep state. Exactly. So it's like, it all comes back to the deep state, George.
It all goes back.
And the people themselves, the actual young, the young apolitical people, they think Trump's the worst because they're casually scrolling on Twitter and they see it reinforced by celebrities. They see it, the headlines. You know, I saw one headline, it was from a few weeks ago, but it was like when Elizabeth Warren was called out for her Native American heritage. And the headline was like, Elizabeth Warren stands tall with her heritage results or something. Like something that was like, oh, it sounds like she won the thing. And then you read into it and they say won 1024th.
Exactly.
Like 5 paragraphs down, but everything's just geared to the casual scroller. It's geared to someone who's on Twitter, like, oh, Seth Rogen hates Trump, like Trump sucks. Oh, SNL, yeah, make fun of Trump. And they just think, I don't really pay attention to politics. I'm too selfish. I care about my own life so much and what I'm doing. I can't commit hours a day to keep up with it. But if Taylor Swift tells me that Trump is a bigotrist or whatever, then yeah, I guess he is. And I'm done. Like Taylor's not wrong. She's rich and has millions of followers. And then Taylor's boss's boss, her music's owned by George Soros now. It's like, it's not that crazy of connections. They call in their favors. Trump sucks. Okay, I got it. Trump sucks. And that's it. And everyone else who's fighting for the truth, it's like, that's kind of the side we're on, which is nice. It's an underdog story.
It really is an underdog story. But so you had people like Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris who are like the darling of the media, right? Remember the Time cover with Pete and his husband, and then
Very cute. Yeah.
and then all that kind of stuff. So the media picks its favorites, and they try and create something from nothing, right? Like you were talking about. But the only difference is they tried to destroy Trump. So why do you think people like Pete and Kamala fizzled out the way they did, even though they did have the Stephen Colberts, they had the Bill Maher's, they had the Time magazine covers? What do you think affects people's minds today about how the media presents people versus reality? Because let's be realistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go and talk to the people, you hear directly from them. Trump had accolades before he ran for president, while these were complete nobodies. I mean, Kamala Harris was known for being a prosecutor arresting black people and Mexican people for nonviolent drug charges, right? And just being happy to make a career out of that. And that's why I was so happy that Tulsi Gabbard absolutely destroyed her on the debate stage. And after that, she was done. And then Pete, he's like a completely obscure nobody from some small town in Indiana. Nothing against Indiana or the city he's from. I'm from the Midwest. But how the hell did he propel into the cover of Time magazine and on a debate stage to run for president. Like, where do these people come from? So I saw this manufactured effort, and then you have Taylor Swift, who's being controlled by whoever she's being controlled, trying to create this image that is not reality and trying to distort reality for Trump. So why do you think they decided to do that and choose these particular people? That's the first question. And two, do you think now that they have fizzled out the way they did, that the media influence and celebrity influence isn't really that powerful?
Yes, to the second question really quick, I do think that celebrity influence is wearing off.
Yeah, I agree.
Because reality was like back in the day, if you wanted to get your message or the truth out there, you had to go through the gatekeepers that was the media. So
Exactly.
you have to go to the news and say, "Hey, I have this story."
Yeah.
And back in the day, they kind of would do it. Like it was like there was some more integrity in journalism. And now it's like they're still trying to do that old way. So I'm just seeing the media, the mainstream media, as like a PR arm for the deep state.
Completely.
So it's like, yeah, why it's like, why are they picking Pete and Kamala? But it's like if they're under the same umbrella of
Yes.
deep state, it doesn't matter. They have like 4 candidates. They, Pete, I think is a great example. Joe Biden's the deep state candidate as well.
Completely.
But it's like they just manufacture. All right, Pete, let's get people who want a gay president. Let's really target them. Let's get Midwest people who like him as like a hometown guy. He's not doing well with the black population. Let's kind of avoid that. Let's do this, this, and this, build up his audience. And then, all right, he's done. Then you just dump it out onto Joe Biden. It's like, all right, he got his audience built up and kind of loyal. Now he endorses Joe, pass him off. And I think that's kind of what they do. And everything is so manufactured and fake that, they have the angles at the rallies where they show the people, but it's like Joe Biden can't fill a room really. Like Bernie can, they're going to snake it from him, but like Pete Buttigieg can't fill a room of people, and people don't care about Pete Buttigieg. But all they can do is like go to the casual viewer and be like, "Oh, Pete Buttigieg having rallies too. He's a good guy. People really like him." And the casual person's like, "Oh yeah, like gay president, that'd be cool. He's in the military, that's cool." And like that's all they think about. So there's just like a mass of people that they're trying to just scare, where it's like it's not they want everyone to think it's black versus white, man versus woman, Democrat versus Republican, when in reality it's the people versus like the 1% of the 1% of the 1%.
That's right.
But they just sprinkle in these conflicts to have us against each other so we don't realize that. And like the best guy they can come up with is this Pete Buttigieg. And it's like that's why you guys will lose in the end. The left will lose in the end. It's because we're based in reality and like we're authentic. Trump's not perfect, but I'll take Trump over Buttigieg in anything.
This goes back to the 2016 election where there were reports that the media wanted to push up Trump as much as possible because they thought he had no chance of winning. And they wanted to keep all the attention on him so that he would just, help the other guys drop out. It looks like what you're saying is they're almost picking favorites from the beginning and setting the seeds to the eventual process that we just saw today, which was these candidates drop out randomly, and then they endorse the deep state candidate like Joe Biden, who has absolutely no charisma or charm and should not even be running, in my opinion. He can't even put a sentence together. And then you have this glorified apparatus of the media trying to create a narrative about Joe Biden as somebody now who's fighting corruption, even though he's the most corrupt guy in history. And we were talking about this with Max a couple episodes ago about the effort of the media to just hide and protect the Obama administration from what was going on back then. And in order to do that, they have to protect Joe Biden because he's at the center of it all. So what do you think is going to happen with Joe Biden moving forward for the rest of the election? I thought he would have dropped out by now, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
I'm actually shocked and dumbfounded at how this guy has not dropped out. I mean, somebody really wants this guy in the race, and it's clear because if he gets elected president, he's probably going to be in a nursing home, not in the Oval Office.
Yeah. I want to talk to whoever is talking to him right before he goes on stage, like patting him on the back, like, "You got this, Joe," sending him out. Who's that guy?
Who is that?
Because I had the same thing. I thought he was going to drop out. I'm like, oh, he's kind of like getting old. Like the family's going to step in. He's going to drop out.
Yeah.
He's the one who's going to make it.
That I did not see that coming.
But if he does, and they do steal it from Bernie, I think there's a faction of the Bernie group. Like, remember the Project Veritas video? We're going to burn down Milwaukee or whatever.
Yeah.
There's guys like that are going to do stuff like that. And then,
Do you think Bernie really cares, or is he a fraud? I'm sorry.
I think he's a fraud because it's like you're there for the whole time. What have you done? I'm going to make the system right. You've been there for the whole time.
But not even that. I just think that he is like the he's like a fraud. I think he's playing a game and then he's rallying people up, and then he knows he's going to get screwed even though he's in on the deal. That's what it looks like is happening again.
In on the deal, just make it, that's not a bad deal.
I don't know. It just seems like it's happening. It's like deja vu all over again. Is he really just that stupid that he's allowing this and he's not really fighting it? Or is he in on it? Because unless all the candidates are colluding, and they might be, in order to give Biden the nomination, and there's rumors about Clinton and Bloomberg, and I don't even know what the hell that's all about.
Do you think there's any truth to those rumors? The Clinton?
I want to ask you about that because I don't know.
So I have like this, I don't know if it's like I have like a sixth sense kind of, and it's like when there's like evil spirits or demons or whatever, I can kind of like my stuff tingles up. I feel Hillary coming back. I know she's coming. She's planning something. She's in the wings going like this, and she's gonna wait for the right time. And she's gonna come in maybe as Joe's VP, and then Joe's a little too old, like everyone knows. Gaff machine. Hillary. Time slam dunk again. Good luck. I mean, that's how I see it going down, kind of, right? They're gonna try and back. And can you imagine being on the side where your most likable candidate is like Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, and Hillary Clinton? It's like those are. It's like, what team is this?
All right, okay. Okay. What about Bloomberg then? What's he doing? Why is he the Little Mermaid?
What is Bloomberg doing? That's a good question.
Why is he eating big gay ice cream and portraying himself as a Little Mermaid? What's his whole thing? Is he just bored?
Maybe is it a hedge? Maybe is it a hedge in case Joe literally can't go on because he's so old? And they got like someone in the back that can just buy it from Bernie and steal it.
Yeah, but he's old too, man.
He is. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, what side is Bloomberg on? I think I was thinking like if the Democrats elected someone like Bloomberg, that'd be nice for them. That's more normal than like a Bernie type and not so deep state.
Wait, who's deep state? Bernie or
not Bernie, and I don't think Bloomberg either, right? Would you say Bloomberg is deep state?
I think Bloomberg is like the state.
The state, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is even worse in many ways because he just like flaunts that I'm going to control everything about your life. I know Bernie does it indirectly through policy in his own ideology versus Bloomberg, who actually did control people's lives in New York, including stop and frisk, which was insane, going around and just like harassing minorities in a city. That's like the state apparatus coming down on you, for all intent and purpose, right? Controlling how big your soda can be as well, raising taxes on sugar, and like telling you how you can eat, how you can't eat, what schools you should go to. If you look a particular way, the police should stop you for your own protection. I mean, that was a microcosm of what I think he wants to impose on the entire United States. And I think that's even more dangerous than Bernie, who in his own ideology, he wants to impose that socialist structure. One is more authoritarian. The other one is socialist, which of course are both intertwined, but I think Bloomberg at the end of the day is more dangerous.
Yeah.
I really do.
But do you think
because he has the money to, and he's not accountable. Bernie, I think, is accountable to people.
Do you think if Bloomberg comes in and basically just buys the Democrat Party, injects all this money, he already did it. He already bought 21 seats. Like he admitted it. Do you think if he does that, eventually he'll just pass it off to Joe Biden? And because everyone who's like going to vote for Bloomberg probably wouldn't vote for Bernie. They'd probably vote for Joe Biden over Bernie. Do you think it's like all the huge umbrella and he's under the deep state umbrella too? And it's just like, yeah, like I built this audience. I spent $1 billion. Here you go, Joe Biden. Take hopefully 60% of it, or whoever is, not you're going to vote for you after that. I wonder if that could be it. Because I bet at the same, I don't know. It's tough.
I just don't see Bloomberg's end game in this. I think he's really hurt himself bad. I think his reputation's gone really down, and he spent a lot of money for no good reason. Unless there's an end game like you just talked about.
Maybe 2024, they bring him in then.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm just like planting the seed. I just can't imagine like why anyone would do this.
He's just happy to be a racist and a sexist, though. And he's like, I am, but I have an NDA with that person, so it really doesn't matter. You'll never get her side anyway, so it's all hearsay.
The media's like, okay. And it's like if it was Trump, they'd be like, where are these people? Track them down. Give us the NDAs.
Right?
Isn't that wild?
So I don't know what's going to happen. I think there's like an identity crisis going on with the Dems. I think like the Republicans are Trump's party now, and moving forward, you're going to have like that type of agenda moving forward. But the Dems, you're stuck between deep state Biden and loony Bernie Sanders and AOC, who now even Nancy Pelosi wants to kind of kick out of the way. But then Nancy's like 80 years old. She's not the future. So what is the future of the Democratic Party? What do you think when you talk? And this is why I want to ask you about what the people who are overwhelmingly liberal here in California and in Hollywood, I should say, not California as a whole, but let's say Hollywood. What do they think is the future of the party that they apparently love so much, and why do they love it so much?
So out here, a big chunk of anyone out in the public protesting, they're mostly Bernie people. So they're trying to vote in socialism openly.
Why? But why? Why do they like him?
They like him because they see all success as privilege and they see all failure as oppression.
I see.
And they have the totem pole of, you know, if you're a minority, if you're gay, if you're all these things, you're like a victim. So they're just like trying to get
I see.
reparations for being a victim of whatever it is. So it's like these people, and this is what I think the biggest problem is right now. Like they are convincing everyone it's left versus right. In reality, the Bernie leftists have less in common with real classical liberals and liberals than the liberals do with Trump people. Like Trump's MAGA and liberals are actually closer, since they're closer to the middle, than anything that the far left is doing. And a lot of people don't really realize that. So they just think, oh, I'm, you know, center left. I'm pretty fair. I'm going to vote Democrat. But in reality, if you're center left, you're well into the conservative movement at this point, or into the MAGA movement. So, that's what my videos I've been trying to do lately. I've been doing Trump's not that bad.
What do people when you because I see you give the facts. You always talk facts. So once you give the facts, do they just say, forget it, I don't believe you, or they just don't want to hear the facts? Or even when they accept those are facts, they still just can't accept him as president for what reason?
Yeah. So I always kind of go into it, and whatever they're really mad about, I try to go around that. So maybe if they hate Trump personally, I won't lead with like, oh, he's a great example for whatever, or he's great at something that I know they're not going to like. I always try to lead with like undeniably good things. It's like, oh, 6 million new jobs. That's good. Like North Korea's not going to nuke us. That's good, right? And the thing is, if you're on the far left and I'm talking to you, you'll always be like, nope, Trump's a Nazi. He's Hitler. He's going to kill us. If you're on the right, you'll have some things to say of why you like Trump. But if you're apolitical in the middle and you're watching, you're going to be like, damn, like that girl who said Trump is worse than Hitler, like I'm not her. This, you know, good looking guy with the beard seems kind of cool and funny. Maybe I like Trump a little more. So I've been doing Trump's not that bad. So like Trump's not that bad is all I'm trying to convince people. I'm not trying to say he's the best or the worst. I'm saying he's not that bad, because the stakes are so high politically that if an apolitical person says, yeah, 6 million new jobs, that's pretty good, they're now out of the progressive mob. Not progressive enough. You have to believe he's going to kill us and do all these horrible things.
What does progressive mean today? I hear the word progressive all the time, but is it being pro-socialism? Is it being pro-communist? Is it being just, what does that mean?
It's like,
what does that mean in today's
they try to remove
nomenclature? Shame.
So it's like, it's like a progressive thing. Like back in the day, if there was a gay person in town, it wouldn't be the most open environment to them, and they would be kind of like closeted and hidden, you know? But now progressivism is trying to remove that shame. And there is a room for progress in society for sure. Like people shouldn't feel shamed.
Of course.
But they're leading so far to correct that wrong that they're having like naked people in the streets in front of kids, like dancing around and like drag queen story time, stuff like that. So like in order to correct the problem, instead of taking gay people from here's people's rights and here's gay people, instead of bringing them up to here and like, all right, you're at an equal playing field now, progressive is like, no, like we're going to tell your kid when he's 5 that he can be a girl. And if you tell us we can't, like, you're going to get child services called on you.
Oh,
or we're going to tell your kids in, like, middle school all about this weird sex stuff and sex education in public schools. And if you don't like that, like, you're a bigot. And, like, I've always said the problem with progressivism, it eventually ends in someone calling you a bigot for not letting them have sex with your kid. That's where it ends. Eventual progressivism is, like, normalizing pedophilia. Like, oh, don't be a bigot. Let this person, you know, do what they want with your kid. And it's like, you have to stop it now.
Look, I'm shocked when I see these like drag. I mean, you mentioned that drag queen video. Do you want to pull up a video or something like as we're?
There was a drag queen twerking one recently.
I've been seeing a lot, and that one like crawling on her leg or her knees,
shaking her butt.
And the girl that is watching it is just like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Kids have no idea what's going on. I saw one where the woman or the man in the woman's outfit goes, "Who wants to be a drag queen when you get older?" And the kids have no idea what they're talking about. These things. Like they just raise their hand, like, "Oh, that sounds okay." It's brutal. And that's what it is. It's just like if you're not progressive enough. But at the end of the day, the normal everyday American person isn't that progressive.
Not at all.
So if you're a liberal and you're like, hey, like, do you believe in censorship? Do you believe we should be teaching the kids these horrible things? You know, are you for free speech? Like all these things that the progressive left is against. They'll be like, no, I'm not for that. So I think the biggest thing I'm trying to do going to the election is separate liberals or people around the center, apolitical, from the left. Because they're just assuming, oh, I'm center left, I'm a Democrat. But it's like, dude, if you agree with one of these things and thinks Trump's not that bad, you're a Nazi.
So what do you tell people then when you interview them when they say, you're right, he's not that bad, but I'm afraid to publicly say that because I might lose my friends, might lose my job. Why is it that just by supporting the president or just saying he's not that bad, you don't even need to support him, he's just not that bad, people are even afraid to go public with that kind of info? What has made people so afraid to talk about, what? And, I remember this. It was like that with Bush. Like people were almost like afraid to say, oh, we're American but he was involving us in wars, and he was costing lives and money and the economy was starting to, do horrible. On the other hand, everything's going great with Trump in the country. The economy is doing incredible. The U.S. is much safer. Immigration is being controlled. And I just think people are happier than they were 4 or 8 years ago. So why are they afraid to just say that and say, yeah, things aren't bad? Why are we so afraid to go public? I mean, for me, I'm a very outspoken person, and no one ever is going to put me in a box ever, and I feel liberated because of that. But other people, I mean, I could not imagine feeling afraid to espouse my opinion, especially in the United States of America. So why are they afraid to talk about it? Is it because they'll feel that they're Nazis? But who the hell determines if they're Nazis?
Yeah, it's the cancel culture aspect, especially in LA. So if you're in LA and you're an actor and you're pro-Trump, like you have the DNC machine against you now, and you'll probably never work again or for a few years. But I think what you're saying is exactly true.
Scary,
it's like
man.
it's the biggest problem.
Scary.
But if one person steps up, the next person can step up, the next person can step up. Because their only thing right now, it's getting better too, but the only thing right now is like, if you step up and say, I like Trump, they'll be like, oh, this guy's a racist, he hates this people or this people or this people. But the more people that do step up, you see the actual diversity that lies within the right. So now they call, Candace Owens a white supremacist. They call Ben Shapiro a Nazi. And it's like, then that happens. Then it's like it ripples even harder. And like it scales where it's like, oh, you guys are calling like a black person, like saying they're in the KKK. You're saying a Jewish person's a Nazi. Like you guys make no sense. And like it almost like exponentially red pills everyone watching. So that's the only thing holding us back is speaking up. But once people speak up, it's not going to get worse. It's going to get immediately quicker and better, quicker.
How have they controlled identity politics in this country for so long? How has the left managed to keep a monopoly on that? We see it recently where you do have record levels of approval ratings for the president, a Republican president, by minorities, African Americans, Latinos, Asians, even women. So how, I guess, what's the question I have for you is, how can minorities feel free to support this president when they have their own people? I don't even like to use that term because I think we're all American. Okay, I don't even like using African American, Latino American, Asian American. I think we're all American. That's something that I really disagree with identity politics. I think it's a divisive measure. I think it's intentional, and I think it's the bigotry of low expectations. I really believe that. I think it's a horrible way to view people, and to have different policies for different people, I think is just so racist and un-American. And how people get stuck into that box, I think, is a trap. So how, and we see it recently. The reason I bring it up is because we saw, let's say, African Americans, let's use the term, go to the White House and they say we love President Trump and the approval rating is 40%. But then you get on the mainstream media a lot of other African Americans saying, oh, these are bad people, this doesn't represent us. I mean, what do you think about that? Like that situation?
There's like a disconnect.
Yeah. How, don't you think that's just a horrible thing that people are afraid to step out of the box and think for themselves, and they're afraid of that? I mean, how do we combat that? I think it's a horrible situation to be in. And I'll say the last thing. When growing up, my family's Greek. And they were Greek Americans, and my father came from Greece around my age at 30, 31. And he kind of felt that way, like, oh, I gotta stay within my community. But he was a foreigner from Greece at 32. Now, when you're born and raised here, and your family's been here for 300 years, like most of these people have been, so why they're still stuck in this identity politics? Why the Democrats feel they have a monopoly on that, and how do you get out of that What do you think about that? Because I think that's something that really has to be addressed in this country.
Yeah. So we spoke about it before a little bit about how like there's the gatekeepers in the media, and that's the
Yeah,
old way of news. So any non-Fox media or non-right wing media will always go Trump's the racist
yeah,
route, Trump's anti-Semitic, all that stuff, and then it's kind of on alternative media to spread the truth and combat that. But then the tech companies are blocking us and putting us into our echo chambers.
exactly.
And that's what I think the biggest problem is. Like I've made a video on Blexit, Candace Owens events about the black exit of the Democrat Party. Great video, 500 or 600,000 views. Everyone loves it, but it's all Trump people who love it. And it's just kind of like red meat for them in a way. And instead of being, put into a pool of apolitical people or even people on the left who could see it, like I got, I think 15,000 up thumbs and like 40 down thumbs, 40.
Really?
So it's like that number should be that down thumb number I wish was higher because that means people are actually seeing it who disagree with it. So I think the tech companies are putting us in our echo chambers.
They are putting it. That's exactly what's happening.
And it's like we can't get past that barrier now.
The media and the tech companies are putting people in their echo chambers, and it's hard to get out of it. And when you do, the people on the pedestal are saying these are just fringe people. They don't represent us, even though I think they really do. And that's why you do see this overwhelming support among, particular groups of people for the president, unlike any other Republican president, even in the face of all these echo chambers that are being manufactured around us to divide us, which I think we should break those walls.
Yeah.
I think they're mental walls, and I think Americans really do have to be united, and I don't think we should be afraid to speak of our opinion, and it really goes back to being a prisoner in your own mind. From these people, I'm going to lose my job. I can't have a friend if I support him. I can't go out to this club. I can't eat at that restaurant. I can't talk to this newspaper. It's terrifying, and moving forward, I don't know if a Democrat's going to get elected president. I don't know if a moderate is, a communist, but I wouldn't never shun somebody or make them feel uncomfortable for voting somebody in, because I think we're all humans and we should have opinions and beliefs, and I don't care what your political beliefs are or your religious beliefs are or your sexual orientation. And I think we should keep that out of the mainstream media constantly. But unfortunately, in today's environment, politics is news, entertainment is news, and culture is politics, unlike any time before. And you're really at the center of it all. So it's really interesting to hear your perspective on all that.
And also with the way it plays out, it's like it's very to come out and publicly. It sounds like the worst thing. I'm going to lose my friends. Everyone's going to hate me, and it is. There's a lot of hate, but there is also a lot of love you get from the right as well. So I've always said the love outweighs the hate by a lot. So if you write a paper and the teacher's saying your paper has to be about being pro-choice, and you write a pro-life paper and you get an F on it, the good thing that we have on the right is you can send that paper to me, a screenshot, and I'll put it on my Instagram or my YouTube, or I'll send it to someone else who will, and we can get your message out there. That'll go viral. The president will see it. We're in the circles now where like social media, like, Don Jr. sees my stuff or he'll retweet it. And it's like, we're not that removed from the most powerful people in the world. So like when you do need a message out there, you're not alone is kind of what I'm saying. So it's like, if you want to get that out there, bam, now you go viral. And now that teacher maybe thinks twice, or maybe that other student in the class now writes the paper that disagrees with the teacher. And now if you have political discrimination and it gets called out, I think people will think twice to do it if we can kind of create that community on the right. And the whole thing is, I think, community. The left destroyed the community. Hollywood destroyed our communities. Amazon destroyed our communities. Remember back in the day, I would buy a pair of shoes every year from the guy down the street. I knew his family. He watched me grow up. Now I get stuff brought to my door the next day. Like the community aspect, the local communities have just been destroyed. And I think if we can rebuild that on the right, make a more appealing community and culture, make jokes that we're allowed to make, push the line, get rid of the PC crap, I think people who are kind of getting tired of the left and the direction it's heading are going to wake up and be like, oh, like Trump's not that bad. These guys are kind of funny. Like these guys like America. These guys get it. I think that's the awakening we're going to have in 2020. I think Trump will get reelected, and then a good chunk of everyone who was against him is going to kind of slowly come over, and then the rest will just, try to burn down Milwaukee or whatever.
Well, what about Hollywood? Where's Hollywood going to go when he gets reelected?
I think they can't continue to deny half the country, and they're motivated by money. And I think there's going to be some people stepping up, and we need I think there's going to be some people that go down. I think a lot of the traditional companies like Weinstein style will continue to fall, and then it's like we're not going to replace it right away, but in the next few years, we have a foundation to build. And if we have like a soft clay, we can make it anything we want. And if we build this foundation on the right, that's pretty good content, good comedy. I think we can save comedy and like start there. Then going forward, I think in 10, 15, 20 years, we'll be competitive. Conservative studios will be competitive in Hollywood.
I mean, you're a funny ass guy, man.
Thank you.
And you're a conservative, and that's, we need more like you. And we need to see your crowds grow. We need to continue to see your brand and my brand and just people like us who are free thinkers continue to evolve and not be afraid to evolve and to highlight what we believe in and have a platform to do it. Because like you said, we are not too separated from the people that can really make change just via Twitter, unless we're getting censored, podcasts, your YouTube, podcast shows, whatever it is. So I think we're in a really good spot. And, I don't know if producer Max has something he wants to chime in on. But
yeah, I mean, I think the comedy aspect is really interesting. I think, I feel like there's going to be potentially like a war within comedy where it's going to be like they're going to have to, I don't know, they're going to come after Joe Rogan or something. I think that the comedy space, though, is most accepting of perspectives outside their own in Hollywood. So I was just wondering, do you have any thoughts on like what you think the future of comedy like looks like?
I think right now, there's like an establishment within comedy, like the Netflix, the big studios, and they're all day going to be funding, the person of color, lesbian person, all these, a lot of lesbians, which is fine, but just that's what they're going with. A lot of like people that aren't funny first. It's not like, oh, this person's the funniest, let's give them a special. They're like, oh, this person's like a Muslim woman of color, lesbian, and she does comedy. And it's like a lot of those things aren't that funny. And a lot of the things are the same jokes. And they talk about like vulgar things or talk about like, sex loosely. And they use like these, and like that stuff's kind of getting old. And I think what they're allowed to make fun of is constantly shrinking. You can't attack these people because it's actually, like you said, bigotry of low expectations.
Exactly.
It's like if I make a gay joke, I'm not saying I'm here, you're here, gay person, I'm making fun of you. I'm saying I'm seeing you as equal and I'm giving you some crap. But if I take that away, now you're basically saying, oh, you can't make fun of gay people because, gay people are here and you're up here. And it's like, well, I didn't say that. Like, that's what you're saying. So I think comedy, there's an opportunity for sure where we can go like an anti-PC route and it'll split the left comedy wise, but the people that join our side are going to be like the true comedians, the old school guys, the people that push the envelope forever. And then they can let the Netflix style comedy specials just kind of like fizzle out or artificially stay afloat. They spend billions on content every year. Let them just keep doing that. And it's like you can inflate your numbers and pretend, but this guy on YouTube who's actually funny gets 10 times more views than this special that costs $1 million.
I think another interesting thing in comedy. Well, you had Todd Phillips recently say like you can't make comedies. Like he had to make Joker because it's like he couldn't, the idea of making a comedy right now is just absurd to him, and he's arguably one of the best comedy directors. Another thing is like I personally don't think you could have made like Tropic Thunder now. Like you can't make those types of movies now. But also weirder to me is that Ben Stiller, who made Tropic Thunder, would never want to make it now. It seems like people have changed. Like something happened between then and now where it's like the people who made those movies wouldn't want to make those movies now.
American Pie too. There's like a scene in American Pie where he turns the camera on and then like hooks up with the girl and like secretly records her. Like what? That's like very illegal. But yeah, those movies couldn't exist. But isn't it crazy how in like 10 years it all switched?
It's insane.
I rewatched the roasts. Comedy Central roast of, and the people are like, "You Jew bastard!" Blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm just like, "Oh my!" Like, how? Like, you can't even get anywhere near that today. But they just went all in, boom, N-word, crazy stuff, and everyone was cool with it because it was pushing that. It was the the counterculture at the time. It was we're anti-PC, like we pushed the thing, and everyone just got so soft. And I think it's because strong men didn't stop it earlier on. The PC movement, the progressive movement. Strong men didn't stop it earlier on because of feminism and probably pornography addiction. Dude, that's a different podcast.
Dude, what kills me even more though is like I'm a comedy fan. Also, Sacha Baron Cohen was one of my fucking heroes growing up. Ollie G was one of the funniest. And this guy, and I was just talking about this with my brother, where Sacha puts out Borat, the ADL or something, come after him hard, saying this is fanning the flames of anti-Semitism or whatever, and now he's speaking at the ADL on behalf of like, censoring people on Facebook. He wants Zuckerberg to start. It
Yeah.
boggles my mind to see these people
In a
kind of
matter of
like
10 years.
personally change their entire philosophy about comedy. I just, I agree with you though. I think that people who don't share that mentality have to start creating content, and it has to start succeeding monetarily for people to start taking notice and to realize, we don't have to play by those other rules, so to speak.
Well, clearly people yearn for something new now because, like you said, Hollywood ticket receipts are like at an all-time low. The Oscars, the Academy Award had the worst ratings in history, and the era of celebrity is dead in many ways.
Yeah.
It really is. So I think there's a vacuum that is slowly emerging, and what fills it next, it's not going to be the PC culture. It's not going to be what you've been describing here. It's going to be something else. So who takes the reins of that? That's going to be very interesting. And I think there's a really, really big opportunity there because clearly the shit that we have now is not working because you see it in the market. The market's talking. And the market shows that ratings are down, and not just in Hollywood, just in the mainstream media. CNN, MSNBC, they have their worst ratings in history, while Fox News is at like 3.2 million viewers a night. They've broken records. So clearly something is not working, and even the viewership of people who used to like them is evaporating. So I think there's a vacuum here, and I think something who fills it is going to become a very wealthy individual and might change culture in America moving forward.
That's it. That's the name of the game. Exactly. And there's like a huge disenfranchised group right now who's like, oh, I know the media is lying. I'm not going to watch Fox News yet, probably. Like, I'm not going to watch Fox News.
Exactly. Yeah, I get it.
Where do I go? And
I get it.
Yeah, I get it too. And it's just like, you got to ease them in. They have to dip their toe. They can't probably swallow a Ben Shapiro lecture right away or Hannity. They probably can't jump right into Hannity. I love Hannity, but they can't jump right into Hannity. They'll be like, what is this guy talking about? The deep state, this disgraced former, Mike Bloomberg, the farmer, whatever he calls him now. But they can't do that. So what do? Like, they have to ease him in. All right, culture wise. All right, this guy's funny. I like this guy's podcast. Oh, he likes Trump. That's crazy. And then it's just like, because everything else on the left is going to continue to get inflated. Fake numbers. It's all fake. Oh, everything's good. Everyone likes these celebrities. No one actually likes these celebrities. They have no real influence.
They don't.
So it's like this new chunk in the middle that's like center left all the way to the right is just, that's America now. And we got to entertain these people. Entertain them first and then talk about politics. Right?
Absolutely.
I think we just light bulb moment, guys.
We unlocked it.
We just unlocked something.
I think comedy is like the biggest wide open space.
It really is.
Because because
they're just not that funny.
They're not. Even SNL, it's like they're not making half the jokes they could make because they don't want to cross certain lines or cross certain people. And it's like, okay, I know in a market, I know what that means. It's like there's an opportunity there. Half the country's underserved. I released one video. I didn't even know how to edit. I taught myself, but I just like put in chunks together. 100,000 views in like one day.
You hear that? Look at that.
And that was like years ago. And it's just like these people just never were really getting served. And then the left's gone so far left that they're like, I can't even turn Netflix on. I can't even turn CNN on anymore. And that's where it's at. So it's like, it's such a good opportunity because we don't even have to do anything that crazy. You don't have to do anything far right wing or anything. We have to just be cool.
Just be intrepid and authentic.
Yeah.
People forget how important authenticity is. I've been saying it since day one. You want to be a politician or a leader in today's world, you can't expect everyone to love you, but you have to be authentic. If you're authentic, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And optics matter. That's the name of the game right
100%.
now. That's what it's about. When you're not authentic, it just permeates through you so quick, and people just know exactly where you stand, and that's you stand for nothing. And if you stand for nothing, how are you going to represent somebody who has true beliefs? You can't.
Exactly. And think about like the everyday person too. It's like they watch the media or they see CNN on at the airport or whatever, and they're getting lied to by someone who makes millions of dollars a year in a studio that's worth millions in a building that costs so much to rent in, like their studios. And it's like their model doesn't work for the truth. So they're committed to these lies now. And once you show an everyday person, oh, this is how CNN lied. This is how they took that clip out of context. Here's what Trump really said. They take them to the rabbit hole and that light goes on. They're like, oh, crap. Like if they're lying, the $1 billion company's lying about that. What else have I been lied about? Every war in history,
Russia
all these
Gate.
people, Russia, Stormy Daniels, all these things, and that's with the red pill thing too. And my channel, yeah, I don't have a ton of producers. I use my phone to record and a spoon to get the audio, but I'm telling the truth, and I'm like out there just trying to get the truth. And it's like they'd rather watch a Fleccas Talks where I just chop it up to, in a couple days and put it out there than like a Don Lemon, because at least I'm trying my best to tell the truth. And like that's like the shift in the media that's happening right now. Like they're done overproduced lies, or done underproduced truth, no music, no fancy graphics, whatever. Bam. It's gonna be a no-brainer.
You said that YouTube.
It's really cool, really interesting.
It's super interesting. And you said that, like, for instance, YouTube, you don't see many downvotes on your YouTube channel, so that makes you think maybe they're just serving it up to people who are already sympathetic to the mess. What do you think is the future of YouTube in terms of like censoring content? Are they going to go farther than just not giving you anyone to downvote you? Or are they going to start?
Because you had some problems with that.
Yeah, I've had some problems.
So
They demonetize a lot. So I'll put a video out and automatically it'll be demonetized. And then I'll challenge it, and they say, all right, 48 hours, we'll get back to you. 47 hours later, they're like, okay, you can monetize. There's nothing wrong with it. And I miss 70% of my views. A lot of my views are in the first day or two.
Yeah.
I mean, every single thing we put on Twitter, any video is automatically, sensitive content. And it's just.
So they'll always just they have like a million switches, I think. And it's like, all right, let's demonetize them. Let's give them no discovery. Let's give them no related videos, or like up next. Every up next video is Joe Rogan or Tucker Carlson or CNN. It's like I used to be all over the place, organically shared. Oh, I found you from so-and-so. I found you from so-and-so. Now I have to put like 300,000 people in seats to watch the video. And I'm lucky because I've built the audience in this amount of time. But if you're just starting out, and it's like if you're just starting out as a creator and you don't have support or know the game that much,
exactly,
it's like impossible.
It's impossible.
It's so hard to build it up. And there were a few years where they kind of figure out who's who. And then there he is, found Fleccas, turn him off. And like I used to have recommended views. I get like 15% of my views were just recommended. So like you watch a video about some other street reporter, Will Witt or something, or slightly offensive, and then the next video is mine. I used to get a bunch of views like that. That went from like 15 or 20% to 0, just turned off. So it's like they're going to keep doing that. They're not going to delete me, I don't think, because I'm like the canary in the coal mine. Like if you delete Fleccas, you went way too far. Like he doesn't even say anything in his videos. I just, let people talk. But they have a game to it. There's such a political game to it. They find their fringe people. They know they're going to delete them, and they let them go do their thing for 6 months. They see who they associate with, and they delete them, and then you get a strike, you get a strike, you get a strike. Then you do one more thing a couple months later, now you're deleted. And it's like they just build a case against you your whole time.
We had that against us immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some weird issues that have been happening with monetizing our YouTube channel. But
you can never probably talk to a person, right?
Yeah, it's impossible.
I have 500,000 subscribers. I've never spoken to someone from YouTube. I talked to the help desk. I'm like, please, like, why is this happening? Like, no one. I can't talk to anybody. Like, I can't.
And they don't allow you to monetize.
I get monetized, but it's not that much. I would say I make 40% of what I would if I was like a cake channel or a makeup channel.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
That really is a scandal that we probably need more traditional conservative press to really cover that more than they are, because that's ridiculous. They're just taking money out of your pocket, and I'm sure it's happening for anyone.
Yeah, we need like a reset button, like Hillary tried that time. We just need one of those reset button, algorithm deleted, everyone's fair, level playing field.
Yeah, dude, that algorithm is, I'm sure, just at Google is just constantly being pushed left.
Oh
left
yeah,
and left.
It's like a reverse. Like if you do like hashtag Trump train, it's probably like a reverse hashtag where they're like, "Oh, he's a Trump guy," like nothing. But you do hashtag Bernie, it's like, "Oh, put him out in public, let everyone see."
We keep seeing, everyone's like, "Oh, there's this new platform that does this. There's this new platform that does this." I mean, like, I personally have tried these new platforms. I just haven't felt like they're enough of a differentiator to YouTube to really like draw a massive audience. I don't know if you've had success or experience with that.
So if I'm thinking about going to my own platform and creating one, and basically taking like the Blaze model of like a network of personalities, and then maybe throwing a new site in there. So I'm looking to do that pretty soon. I want to leave YouTube because they're not monetizing me I want to like kind of set the tone and just like, hey guys, like there's alternatives, but that only works for me because I've been doing it for a few years and I have this audience that will follow me, or people I associate with in the network that will follow them. It's very tough because like not everyone has that, and once your voice gets eliminated on this thing, where do you go? How do you defend yourself? Like you can't do it. So if you're like a smaller creator who's just starting, it's a very hard uphill climb. We need like a reset, I think.
What would that platform be though? If it's not YouTube,
Well,
it's not
people have
Twitter,
tried it. I mean,
Facebook?
Gavin McInnes has tried to create basically an app where you can go and pay $10 a month or something, and
I think the future will be a bunch of those. What I've been trying to do, maybe I shouldn't say it because it's a good idea. I don't want to give it away. But it's like I want to go over the top of all these alternative content creators. So Gavin has a platform with like 5 or 6 other creators. The Blaze has one. Daily Wire, they probably wouldn't be involved. But like you get a bunch of these things put together and go over the top and just create Netflix for conservatives, as an easy way to put it. Where it's like, hey, pay $15 a month and you get Gavin McInnes, you get George Papadopoulos, you get Fleccas Talks, you just get every single person, and we get all in one place
Under one umbrella.
That's what we need, because right now we're so spread out, and
We
there's
are
like,
spread out.
the Gavin people like Gavin, they're on his thing, but they spend $10 a month. They don't want to spend $5 a month for Fleccas, but they'll spend $5 for George, and it's just like we're all over. We need to be legitimized. We need an app on the home screen. Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, conservative Netflix.
I think you're completely right.
That's brilliant.
I've spoken to people about stuff like that. I'm even more concerned though, because I see, let's say people pay you $10 a month for your app. I mean, Apple can take you off the App Store, and then Visa can shut down your payments. It's like there are gatekeepers everywhere, which is why, I mean, this is probably a discussion for a whole nother show, but like I'm super into the whole cryptocurrency space and how that presents an opportunity to go around all of those financial gatekeepers that probably are going to put up a lot of resistance to that type of model.
That's that would be a legit decentralized way. We need that.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are trying it, but yeah, it's definitely early in that whole world.
But then would a Daily Wire, for example, want to branch out from their own little umbrella? That's the question.
So they probably wouldn't, especially if there was
or the Blaze, for example.
Yeah.
You brought up both of them.
Yeah, so maybe not necessarily Daily Wire specifically, but that model, like groups like that where they have like 4 people in there and the news. Like Ben Shapiro wouldn't want to be on the platform with Gavin McInnes. But if we go, like, instead of focusing on top 10 creators, go bottom 90 or whatever, where there's like all like people like me, people like you who are not like the Ben Shapiro, Glenn Beck types, more of the alternative, self-reliant, independent types. I think if you went that way, it would still work. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely.
The street people, and then anyone who's already done it.
You are the news, man.
I think the future is not CNN, not TV news. The future is just getting the news from people you like, I think.
And those people let you talk. And that's what you're doing, and that's what we're trying to do here. And I think that's the future.
Yeah, more important than the news is the entertainment, is the fun,
Entertainment, yeah. Vice used to be like that. I don't know. Vice lost its way. They had the cameras interviewing people that you never got before. But they sold out.
They interviewed Obama, and after that, it became deep state. It all goes back to the deep state.
It all goes back to
Everyone's in the deep state. Have you been watching The Bachelor?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
What's going on with The Bachelor?
Well, season finale is next week. It would have been maybe relevant. Maddie came back for the rose ceremony. We thought she was going home.
Did she?
Yeah, she came back. Victoria F. went home last night. We all saw that coming. So now it's either Hannah Ann or Maddie. We'll find out.
When's the Fleccas Bachelor podcast coming?
When's that coming?
Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah. All right.
When's the Fleccas Bachelor podcast going? What's going on with the personal life?
Personal life, I got a new car. I got an old 97 Mercedes convertible.
There you go.
SL500, Miami Vicing out here on these haters. This is the funniest car ever because it's like it was worth like over $100,000 when it came out, and now it's worth like $8,000. And I was like, all right, I'll take that deal. I'll be the coolest guy in LA in my mind in 1997. So I got a cool car. I moved to the suburbs to avoid the coronavirus. I used to live in downtown by Skid Row, and then 6 months ago I had a choice to renew my lease, and I said, you know what? That tingly Hillary Clinton thing's going off. I think there's going to be like some sort of outbreak of the plague or something down here, and sure enough, I was right about that. So I moved to the suburbs, and I'm going to live there for another 6 months, then move back to LA, I think.
There you go. We need you back here.
Yeah. Everything's good in the personal life, though. Same old stuff.
There you go. Also, man.
Yeah. How about you?
All good. Same old, living a day at a time. And, it's fun. I mean, I'm having a great time out here. I love LA, really do. I've been out here almost 2 years now. I can't believe how time flies. I mean, like you said, that interview with you was a year ago. That feels like a week ago to me.
Me too.
It's crazy. You were just at my house. We were doing that interview. And I'm like, wow, I'm going on 2 years in LA. So much has happened. Like, great things are happening. The news cycle is finally going our way. And we are making the news because we are the news. And that's what I think differentiates us so much. And it's just real awesome to see you. And, it's always great to have you. And you're welcome back anytime. And, we need more people like you doing what you're doing. So
and we need more people like you. And thank you for having me. I love you, man.
Love you too, man.
I really do love you. Yeah. I have immediate connection with George when we first met. We were just immediately cool. And I'm looking forward to move back. You're going to be my best friend in LA.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Fleccas Talks, Punching Back podcast with George Papadopoulos. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much. Make sure you subscribe on the Himalaya app or wherever you listen or watch your podcasts. We're going to probably get Fleccas on very soon again. I think we've got some big things cooking that we just talked about here. So stay tuned for that. Thanks so much, and tune in next week.